Hi all, I have another fascinating game of Paul Morphy to show you. His opponent, Theodore Lichtenhein. So this is played in New Orleans, 1857. E4, E5, we have the King's Gambit. It's accepted. Knight F3, and now D5 here. Paul Morphy takes that. Bishop E7. Bishop B5 check. This looks risky because black is about to play Bishop H4 check. With that seemingly modest move, that's actually quite dangerous in conjunction with this. So with this position, white is actually accepting either a pawn sack or castling rights to be forfeited. It's actually a pawn sack here after this check. With G3, after F takes, white just castles. So intuitively, it looks a very nice idea to coordinate forces to use the F file. Technically, this pawn could be dangerous in some variations on H2. It's like shielding the king on the H file, but can potentially be dangerous. We have Bishop F6. And now this move gives me some concern. Was this a tournament game or some sort of blindfold game? Not entirely sure. It seems very optimistic, this next move. Knight E5 from Paul Morphy. Very, very optimistic. Mind you, defensive technique back then wasn't so resourceful as today. It looks as though it's absolutely ridiculous idea just to gobble this piece. But if we look at the fine resolution of resources, sometimes defense can work on just munching the opponent's attacking resources resourcefully. And in fact, it seems like bishop takes e5 is possible. It looks really dangerous. Whatever way this is sliced, though, if we look at queen h5, there's queen d4 here vacating d8 and protecting the bishop. And it's actually quite tricky because, especially with this pawn here, black has the threat now of, queen e4. Sometimes this position is basically very advantageous to black. Not only knight f6 but queen e4 threatens. It doesn't matter about the check. And here it can get very, very tricky. Now if we examine also in this line bishop takes, it wasn't actually taken. Bishop takes f7. Yeah, it seems here king e7. And is there concrete proof that this actually wins for white? There was a player on my correspondence style who was asking, stylesite.chessworld.net, he was asking, what is the concrete line? Sometimes you do need to know the concrete lines because the opponent can be really resourceful. What is a concrete line here? d3 to threaten what exactly? So I'm not sure. Knight f6, black seems safe enough here. So if the idea is queen h5, it seems queen d4 might actually be close to some sort of refutation. But anyway, the game continued. Knight h6. We have d4, bishop takes, and now queen h5. Queen takes d4. We have a similar looking position, maybe in some respects. Black is threatening still things like queen e4 because this pawn's dangerous. Kind of form pawn. Bishop takes f7 is played. Knight takes, queen takes, and it looks extremely dangerous, this position here. Because the queen and king, this looks like a terrible configuration. Bishop g5 check. Bishop f6. Now the thing to note here, well, there's a few things to note. One amusing point of note is this form pawn is dangerous. For example, rook takes f6 would appear clever. Not so clever. Queen g1 checkmate. Queen takes g7 might appear clever here. Not so clever. Queen d5 check. And then just maybe even just taking or queen e5 check first. This is a better route. Can win the bishop with check. It can go with checks basically. It's just a very, very unfortunate position. Yeah, we can just clear up the attacking resources. So yeah, this is a tricky position. Yeah, rook f6 fails. Queen g7 fails. We have knight c3, and it looks extremely dangerous. And now, in fact, queen takes g7 is the major threat. These two squares have been covered. This is the second one, of like maybe one of the other ones is rook ad1, and there's also rook f6. These are all alive now as threats, whilst previously, because this rook is covering g1 as well, so there's even rook f6. Black played bishop d7. This is a major mistake. Technically, there is a way. I feel really bad. It's like destroying a fairy tale. The analysis of this game. But you see, I want to be on the side of objectivity here, because black does have resources in this position. It might look grim, but our defensive technique and our cynicalism has probably increased throughout the years because of technical analysis to know the truth about things. It's a little bit optimistic, this whole thing, it seems, in this position. Black has unbelievable defensive resource though, which not many people would see. So bishop d7 was the game continuation. Now before we go into that, there's a very, very cruel defense. You'd have to be some sort of defensive genius to see it. And it kind of supersedes some old analysis I've seen at ChessGamesCom, which runs bishop takes, and now the interruption tactic. But the point is here, there's an improvement over the old analysis. It looks pretty grim, this configuration, and silly. The old analysis was to give up the queen. This is a bit murky, to be fair, because white is getting a lot of material back, gets the bishop back after, otherwise there'll be c3. So let's assume black gives up the bishop, and we have a murky position, which, in practical chances for both sides, even if the queen's up against 3 pieces. But the point is here, actually, that there is something worse in store for white in this particular position. And this is the premise that sometimes the best defense is to try and gobble attacking pieces. And there's a very, very cruel resource in this position. I don't know if you can guess it if I give you 5 seconds. So it seems this, this intuition, this optimistic intuition, surely it's more than optimistic. Our visuals are telling us as human beings this is a terrible configuration. Everything's on a skewer line. Everything's on a pinning line, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, there's all the spectator's pieces. Our visuals are saying this is ridiculous for black. White's got all of his pieces attacking, but there is a resource for black nonetheless. In the actual concrete details, you can gain tempos. That's why we have a major tactic site called Chess Tempo. The power of the tempo is the power of concrete analysis, not just trusting instincts or intuition. There's a key tempo gainer in this position, which in a way refutes white's position. Black does have some resources though. These are spectators, but this is an aggressor. Black has a resource here which seems to be better than bishop takes c3. Can you find it? If I let you pause the video here, clue, gain a very key important tempo, try and gobble the attacking resources. If I give you 5 seconds starting from now. It's a shock. It's truly shocking, but it seems bishop e6. And black's better black's going to be clearly better. If takes, we just take here. That's clearly, with queen f3 check being threatened, that's clearly terrible. If taking here, we take the queen, this position is just clearly better for black. There's no problem. Piece up. Yeah, this move seems a bit of a killer. Bishop e6. It's unbelievable in a way. It refutes the visuals basically. If here we take the queen, we plonk the bishop there to avoid losing a piece. What's happening? Black can crawl out here. It looks dangerous. I mean, it still looks a bit dangerous, but black's crawling out. He's a piece up. Yeah, it just seems, bishop d7 though was played. because Paul Morphy is not playing an incredibly powerful defensive player. I mean, it's, you know, people like Korchnoi were proved to Tau multiple times he could win the material. But anyway, back to the game. Now here, rook takes f6 was played. Even stronger might be queen takes g7. So it's like a crosspin, a lovely crosspin opportunity. It's crushing. It's absolutely crushing here, this crosspin, because it's threatening to win the queen. If we take here. So the crosspin wasn't used, but rook takes f6 is simple and strong. And then we have check, rook d6. It's all with tempo. Paul Morphy is using all the tempos now on black's queen. Knight e4. Funny enough, the irony there, it could have been used by the defensive player. Queen takes c2. All running with tempo. Guess what's played now? Rook takes d7. Queen takes d7 check. Knight d6 threatening queen b7 check now to carry on the chase. It's a pretty miserable position now. We have rook hd8. If black tries to defend b7, let's have a look with this move. Rook c1 is pretty lethal here. There's no queen e4 check. The knight's conveniently covering e4. So this is pretty hopeless. So we have this rook hd8. And the attack continues very forcefully, emphatically. Check. And a beautiful move here. Can you guess? If I give you 5 seconds. Okay, bishop d2 check. Not minding if the queen can take. It's hopeless to play this anyway, this one. I think just b3 and knight c4. But that's very similar to the game continuation now. Queen takes d2, knight c4 check. White doesn't have to just win the queen, but has b3 checkmate. I feel cruel ruining the fairy tale, but no, instinctively, intuitively, I have to say there was a dangerous form pawn. So black, you might think, should have some resources, but no, the defensive capability is not to be underestimated, just because the visuals all seem emphatically to point into disaster. But the tempo gainers, they give us a reality check, a cold shower, cold shower reality check. That tempo gainer can be useful in defense, as Paul Morphy showed in attack all the time, all his tempo gains and forcing moves. But in defense, has to be estimated as well. But this game might have been a blindfold game, so let's not be too harsh, especially if it was a blindfold game. I'm not sure if it was a tournament game or a blindfold game. But anyway, he was one of the best players in the world, Theodore Lichtenstein. Lichtenhein. So, yeah. Okay, I hope you got something from it. Comments, questions, likes, shares, appreciated. Thanks very much.